Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is KJ Alexander, aka A1K, and this is your favorite sports show, the Good Game Podcast, episode 21. And I want to thank everyone who's been tuning in to the Good Game Podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you. We have a jam-packed episode full of a lot to discuss. A big super trade just transpired this weekend in the NBA, and we are going to break it down for you today. But before we get into it, I want everyone to do me a quick favor. If you haven't already, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, hit that bell notification so you get notified whenever we drop our next episode of the Good Game Podcast. Also, in the description of this video will be my Cash App posted if you want to leave any donations to the channel and help support the Good Game Podcast. Remember, it doesn't matter how much you want to donate. A whole bunch of ones beat a whole bunch of nuns any day of the week. So, with that being said, without further delay, let's go ahead and get into it. If you haven't heard, you must be living under a rock, but one of the biggest trades in NBA history just transpired, and we're here to break it down for you at the Good Game Podcast. So, Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic has been traded to the Los Angeles Lakers for Lakers star forward Anthony Davis in a 3-team trade. And like a lot of people, when I first saw this trade, I didn't believe it. I thought it was a joke. I thought somebody had got hacked. But upon doing further research and investigation, it turns out to be completely legitimate. So in a blockbuster trade that figures to impact the Western Conference balance of power for years to come, Lakers, Mavericks, and the Utah Jazz completed a 3-team trade that sends Luka Doncic to Los Angeles and Anthony Davis to Dallas. So we're going to break down this trade a little bit. I'll give you my opinions on who I think won and lost the trade, and then I want to hear what you guys think in the comments section. The Lakers received Luka Doncic, Max Kleber, and Markieff Morris from the Mavericks, who announced the trade Sunday morning. Dallas acquired Davis, Max Christie, and the Lakers' 2029 first-round draft pick. The Utah Jazz received Jalen Hood-Schifino, the Los Angeles Clippers' 2025 second-round pick, and the Mavericks' 2025 second-round selection. The trade talks were initiated by Dallas, league sources told ESPN, and began a few days ago. Harrison and Rob Pelinka, the Lakers' vice president of basketball operations and general manager, have a long-standing relationship dating to when Harrison was Kobe Bryant's marketing manager at Nike, and Pelinka was Bryant's agent. The Lakers' front office ownership group and coaching staff were in alignment on the deal, excited to acquire a young superstar in Luka Doncic, while recognizing it takes a lot to get a lot in the NBA. After the Lakers and Mavericks agreed to the deal late Saturday night, sources told ESPN that Pelinka made 3 calls in quick succession: a joint call with Davis and Lakers coach JJ Redick, a call to Davis's agent, Rich Paul of Clutch Sports, and a call to LeBron James. Harrison told the Dallas Morning News that he texted Doncic and left him a voicemail. According to Harrison, my guess is he probably doesn't want to talk to me, end quote. James learned of the trade when it broke while he was out to dinner with family after Saturday's win against the Knicks in New York. Sources close to the Lakers superstar told ESPN. James was surprised by the news, sources said. Davis and Doncic were also not informed of the trade ahead of time, sources told. So it's interesting to note in this trade that none of the people who were involved nor any of the teammates of the players involved were notified of this trade taking place. It was done completely in the dark and was a surprise to most of the people involved, except, of course, for the people behind the scenes putting the deal together. The deal pairs Doncic with James as the new 1-2 punch in Los Angeles, while Davis would be forming a new star duo with Kyrie Irving in Dallas. James intends to stay with the Lakers beyond Thursday's trade deadline, a source familiar with the four-time MVP's plans told ESPN, confirming a report earlier Sunday from NBA reporter Chris Haynes. The trade also reunites Doncic with JJ Redick, his former Mavericks teammate. Doncic was one of the Mavericks players on the floor when Redick came out of a game for the final time on May 11th, 2021. Davis waived his $5.9 million trade kicker as part of the deal, sources told ESPN. The decision was made to give the Mavericks flexibility with the salary cap, to be as competitive as possible while also recognizing that the money can be made back in other ways, with no state taxes in Texas and in signing a contract extension with Dallas in the future. The Mavericks were motivated to move Doncic because of his constant conditioning concerns. Sources told McMahon there had been significant frustrations with the organization about Doncic's lack of discipline regarding his diet and conditioning, which team sources considered a major factor in his injury issues. Though Doncic relatively lean by his standards when he reported to camp, his weight ballooned to the high 260s earlier this season, sources said. He sat out 5 games in late November when the Mavericks listed him with a sprained right wrist and extended absence to allow Doncic to focus on his conditioning. He had a similar early season layoff in the 2022-23 season. Doncic has been limited to 22 games this season because of a variety of injuries. He has twice strained his left calf since reporting to Dallas before training camp in late September, although the Mavericks reported the fall injury only as a calf contusion, sources said. Doncic has not played since straining his calf again on Christmas Day, but has been targeting a return before the All-Star break later this month, sources told McMahon. Davis has sat out the Lakers' past 2 games after being diagnosed with an abdominal muscle strain earlier this week. Davis was expected to be reevaluated in a week, the Lakers said Wednesday. Doncic was in line to receive a 5-year, $345 million contract this summer, but because of the trade, he is no longer eligible for a Supermax deal, according to ESPN Bobby Marks. The deal is as stunning as it is historic. It is the first time that 2 reigning All-NBA players have been traded for each other mid-season, according to the Elias Sports Bureau. Davis will join a team featuring a coaching staff led by Jason Kidd, who was an assistant coach with the Lakers' 2020 championship team, and assistant coach Jared Dudley, who was a role player on the 2020 Lakers squad. Davis told ESPN's Shams last month that he thought the Lakers needed to add another big man, saying he has always been at my best when I've been at the 4, end quote. The 6'10" Davis now joins a Dallas team that already boasts size in its front court with emerging 6'10" center Daniel Gafford and 7'1" center Derek Lively, who is sidelined with an ankle injury. There was one game, Phoenix-Portland, still going on in the NBA on Saturday night when reports began swirling of the trade. Suns guard Devin Booker said someone in the stands told him and his teammates of the trade. Added fellow Sun star Kevin Durant, quote, "Insane, it's crazy, damn, would have never thought Luka Doncic would get traded. At his age, mid-season, the NBA is a wild place. Man, if he can get traded, then anybody is up for grabs," end quote. There was an immediate shock on social media when the news hit as well. And Knicks guard Jalen Brunson wondered if it was a joke. April Fool's, right? He asked. The trade significantly altered the NBA betting market also, as the Lakers moved from 40-1 to 16-1 to win the NBA title at ESPN Bet early Sunday morning behind only the Oklahoma City Thunder and Denver Nuggets. in the Western Conference. The Mavericks, on the other hand, dropped from 25-1 to 40-1 at ESPN Bet before moving back to 33-1 early Sunday. The Lakers enter Saturday tied with the Timberwolves and Suns for the 11th longest championship odds. But after the trade, the Lakers leapfrogged the Timberwolves, Suns, Clippers, Rockets, Grizzlies, Bucks, and Mavericks to have the 6th shortest odds. Among players with at least 400 games, Doncic's 28.5 point average is third in NBA history, behind only Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain, both at 30. Doncic also is one of only 3 players in NBA history with career averages of at least 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists per game. The other 2 are James and Oscar Robertson. Doncic was third in the MVP voting last season after averaging 33.5 points, 9.5 assists, and 9 rebounds per game, easily one of the greatest statistical seasons in league history. Doncic, who turns 26 later this month, and has referred to James as an idol, had a 73-point game against the Atlanta Hawks on January 26, 2024, tying the 4th highest scoring total ever in an NBA game. Only Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe Bryant have scored more. Anthony Davis, an all-star pick this year, for the 10th time in his career, turns 32 next month. He was part of the NBA's 75th anniversary team, helped the Lakers win the NBA title in the bubble in 2020, and like Doncic, is a 5-time All-NBA selection. Doncic is averaging 28.1 points, 8 rebounds, and 7.8 assists per game this season. Davis is averaging 25.7 points and 11 rebounds. Dallas plays at Cleveland on Sunday, while the Lakers are still off until visiting the Clippers on Tuesday night. The Lakers and Mavericks play each other twice more in the regular season, first on February 25th in Los Angeles, and then April 9th in Dallas. So let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think? Who won this trade? Did the Lakers win the trade? Did Dallas win the trade? Did the Utah Jazz win the trade? Although I'm sure many people won't think that. But whatever you think, let me know in the comment section. Me personally, I think that the Los Angeles Lakers were the clear winner of this trade. All things being equal, they got the younger superstar out of the trade. Although I am a huge fan of Anthony Davis and it does pain me to see him go, I think that Luka Doncic was the one player that would make that trade make sense. And I think he'll be a good fit in Dallas as well, as far as Anthony Davis playing alongside, Derek Lively, Anthony Gafford, and these guys they have in Dallas. And I think he'll be a good fit defensively. This makes Dallas a way more defensive-minded team. They still have Kyrie Irving out there to distribute and make some plays offensively, but there's no denying the fact that Dallas is going to fall off a little bit offensively. But I think the idea for them is to tighten up defensively and to become a more defensive team so that they don't necessarily have to score more points than the other team to win. They can focus more on playing better defense and keeping the other team under the amount of points they scored in order to win. So that definitely is a shift in how that team operates. As far as the Lakers, I'm trying to imagine how Luka would look with the Lakers. Even seeing somebody like Max Christie, who I liked on the Lakers squad, being traded, he was a pretty good defender, at times. I think that the way the Lakers roster is constructed after recently trading for Dorian Finney-Smith, the Lakers aren't done making moves here. I think that the Lakers still have 1 or 2 trades to make before the deadline. I think this trade will make a lot more sense after we see what happens after post-trade deadline. Excuse me. But post-trade deadline, I think we'll be able to really evaluate how this makes sense. But you can't deny the fact that Luka is a generational player. And it's insane still to this moment having being a few hours removed from the breaking news of this trade, I can't believe that Luka Doncic is going to be a Los Angeles Laker, And as a Laker fan, I'm excited to see how this transpires. I think it solves a lot of problems for the Lakers as far as what does the team look like post LeBron. And the Lakers have their guy now to build around for the next 10 years. So any move that the Lakers make going forward from this point out is going to be centered around building the team around Luka Doncic. But as far as perimeter shooting, we got Luka Doncic, Dorian Finney-Smith out there, not to mention Dalton Connect and Austin Reeves. I think this is a very, very talented roster. And although the Lakers may have suffered slightly from losing a solid defensive post player, I think offensively we definitely stepped it up a lot. And if we can find the right player or two players to kind of make up for some of the defense that we're losing in giving away Anthony Davis, I think this trade makes all the sense in the world. And me personally, I'm excited to see LeBron James and Luka Doncic play. And on the flip side, also to see Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis play. I think that will be great for basketball. And this trade is just one of those things that is historic, it's monumental, and you don't see trades like this happen all the time in the National Basketball League. So we definitely had to cover that today on this episode of the Good Game Podcast. But before we transition to our next topic, I want you to do me a favor. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. Support the channel by hitting the like button and hit that subscribe button. Also, hit that bell notification so you get notified anytime we drop another episode of the Good Game Podcast. All right, so before we close out, it's a quick episode, but I wanted to give y'all this breaking news today. Before we close out, we're going to finish with some NBA 2K25 news, just to keep it on the topic of basketball. There has been some ratings updated boosts for a few players in the NBA 2K game. I'm not really a big 2K player, but it definitely was back in the day, more so than I am now. But it is always interesting to see how these ratings get adjusted, especially as we reach the midpoint season. It can definitely be an indicator of how players are playing in actual real life. So definitely something I wanted to break down for you guys here. So Visual Concepts has published its final round of NBA 2K25 ratings updates live ahead of NBA All-Star Weekend in February 2025. LeBron James headlines the new set of changes with a slight boost to his overall rating. Sacramento Kings forward DeMar DeRozan showed some improvements as well. But the biggest gain this season is for Miami Heat center Kel'el Ware, whose overall rating jumped by 6 points. All of those changes are reflected in NBA 2K25 Season 4. LeBron James' overall rating moved up to 96 after a single point increase that Visual Concepts attributed to his performance in the preceding weeks. During that time, James had 23.4 points and 7.6 rebounds, along with 9.6 assists, the latter of which is the third best streak in the NBA, behind James Harden's 10.1 and Nikola Jokic's 11.6. DeRozan's overall rating sits at 87 after a 1-point increase with this new update. Visual Concepts pointed out the increase in DeRozan's points per game average as a rationale for his ratings bump. He went from 21.3 points per game to 25.1 in the past 2 weeks, following Kings coach Mike Brown's departure. Ware, the 7-foot Heat center, ends January 2025 with an overall 80 rating, up 6 points from his previous rating. Rookie Kel'el Ware increased minutes and production as a starter have been a beacon of positivity for the franchise and Miami Heat fans, Visual Concepts said. Following Ware's debut as the number 15 pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, his minutes increased from 15 to 29.5 per game, with a corresponding rise in points and rebounds per game as well. Visual Concepts says this performance has Ware's ranking at 25th out of 448 players for the past 2 weeks. So yeah, man, definitely interesting to see these ratings change as we reach the midpoint season, a little past the midpoint season of the NBA season and heading towards All-Star break. Definitely want to give a shout out to rookie Khalil Ware on the come up. Definitely have been on a lot of people's radars coming out of the Miami Heat. And shout out to Visual Concepts for updating the NBA 2K ratings as they see fit. And yeah, man, it's interesting. Speaking about the Miami Heat, it's crazy to me that Jimmy Butler has not been traded yet. And this is a person who has been constantly been in trouble with his team organization for not going to practice, verbalizing how he doesn't want to be there. And somehow Luka Doncic gets traded before Jimmy Butler. This NBA is a crazy league, man. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that for today. Just a quick episode to keep you guys updated on what's going on in the world of sports. If you like today's episode, please do me a favor and hit that like button. Also, please subscribe to the channel as we will have more content dropping on this channel in the coming days. Also, hit that bell notification if you want to get notified anytime we drop a new episode of the Good Game Podcast. That is all the time we have for today. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Until next time, my name is A1K. Peace out.